Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the double champ, George G Money Stallworth. What's up?
In my Darren Till impression. One of my fighters is a Darren Till fanatic, and I haven't spoken with him since, but I'm waiting to poke my finger in this open wound.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. And
go
ahead.
No, that was it. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Combat sports world.
And the man with the keys to victory, John Keys.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Another beautiful night in our neck of the woods.
All right. Now, some of you may be wondering where KC Kelechi Onyebuchi is. He is actually in the audience tonight, and so he's already throwing things up on the screen. He says Darren doesn't matter till he wins again, and he emphasis on the till.
So just so y'all know, he doesn't. KC is out. He isn't. He's under the weather. He doesn't have the Rona, so he will be back with us very soon. Get well very soon, KC.
But he is watching, and he is going to be sending us comments just like you can. So if you want to say something, if you want to get in on this conversation, just type in the box. We'll put it on the screen, and we'll talk about it. So
what you're saying is KC is playing hooky from work, but is actually moonlighting on his other job by, making comments with us.
I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I'm just asking. That's what it feels like. KC, are you playing hooky from Combat Sports Talk? Guys, I'm not gonna be on tonight, but I'll be sending messages.
No, what it is, I'm not gonna say anything. Look, we gonna go on because I don't want to get him in any kind of trouble. Well, for KC, Sonia says to feel better soon. So, we hope to get him back next week and be full stream. Yeah. So KC is like, come on, coach, you can't put me on like that. Like, come on, man, gotta have a brother's back.
Yourself. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, you got a full 7 days. You'll defend yourself next week. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when it comes to combat in KC, he never defends himself.
Oh.
What? You ain't here. You ain't here. No, I told him. I said after we posted the fight again, I was like, I'm not gonna be. We're gonna let the battle die. We're gonna let the back and forth about the fights. We're gonna let it down. We're just gonna let it go. Why? Because KC and I have been going back and forth about those fights for 5 years.
All right.
It's been 5 years since that fight, and we're still talking about it.
Okay, so promise me this. If John Jones and Daniel Cormier finally let it go, then y'all let it go. Okay? When they do that.
Listen.
Huh?
No. Huh? We're going to show John Jones and Daniel Cormier how to bury a hatchet, and we're going to do that.
So I just forgot to mention this to you while we were doing the meeting a little bit earlier. I should have added this in that I do believe Dana White has said that Mr. Jones is going up to heavyweight all of a sudden. That the next fight that he will be having will be his heavyweight debut.
But it doesn't matter.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
Hit my music. All right, it's already going to start.
Here we go.
Conspiracy theories.
So,
let's go.
All right. So
he didn't want to give you the music.
Okay, so check it out. Here's how it's gonna go.
Oh, down. It played.
Did it? I thought I heard it play. So this is what's gonna happen. John Jones is gonna is gonna do his first fight debut at heavyweight, and something will happen at the Stipe Miocic Daniel Cormier fight. Something tells me that Daniel's gonna say, "I got one more fight in me." So now Daniel's got motivation to definitely keep that title. Okay, we're gonna see Daniel win, and then he's gonna say, I know there's one more fight in me, and I know who I want, and he is on his way. And trust me, it's gonna be John Jones. I've said.
All right, you heard it here. he's been right before. I mean, I don't remember it, but I know it's happened.
He's taking shots at you worse than
Everybody's getting some. Only person's not getting some is the guy who can kick me in the leg and hurt me. That's the only person that's not getting it. So let's get into it. This is the headliner, the thing that I want to talk about. It's not the number one thing that we're going to talk about, but it's the number one thing I want to talk about. This is the headliner. Here we go. This is the headliner segment. This is where we talk about the number one thing that I want to talk about, and that is we have a fight, folks. Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. It's going to happen. 8 rounds of exhibition.
Ain't gonna be no 8 rounds of exhibition.
I don't think it's gonna go that long.
No, it's not. It might be 30 seconds of exhibition because, like Mike Tyson has famously said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face. Okay, so Roy Jones gonna hit him hard, and Mike Tyson's gonna revert back to 21-year-old Mike Tyson. That he's gonna forget where he is, and he's gonna go back into full on mode.
Listen, here's the thing for me.
Mike's gonna win this, or are you saying Roy's gonna win it?
I'm saying rest in peace, Roy Jones. Okay, Mike is gonna murder him in that ring, and they might as well have the ambulance parked right next to it because they're gonna be a resuscitation needed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up right now to see if I can see a training footage of Roy Jones Jr. Whether or not I can see him training, see what he looks like, because I know Mike Tyson looks amazing. Bill Fire over here, he's saying 3 rounds, no more than that. He's giving Roy Jones Jr. 3 rounds to try to make himself look respectable before he gets dropped like a bad habit.
Wow. Remember, people, Mike Tyson's average ring time was like what, a minute, all right, in his entire career. He doesn't go long. Okay, he's a brawler of the absolute elite caliber, and really the worst case scenario of fighter that you can ever want to match up against.
I don't know if I would go so far as to call him a brawler. Mike is pretty precise and very very precision oriented. Like he places his shots very well. He's not in there brawling with you.
Okay. With a technical brawler, would that be a better?
I kind of like that one.
Okay, a technical brawler. We'll call him that because you're right. He does pick his shots. He is a master of the 6'4" Gustafson system combination. All right, and if you don't understand, there's a regular boxing combination which goes to 1 through 6, and there's the Gustafson system which goes through 1 through 8, which adds hooks and other techniques. And Mike Tyson's known for the 6'4", which is a left hook and was a left strike to the kidneys, and then left hook to the body, and then a left uppercut. So just anybody can master that, you've pretty much won. And Mike Tyson's mastered it.
Yeah, I just don't. The thing is, I want to see what Roy Jones is doing these days. Like, I tried to find a video, and it was nothing. Like, what are you doing, Roy Jones? Because we see Mike Tyson getting in shape. We see him in the gym, hitting pads, doing the thing. What are you doing? Because right now, and this is the thing, is that Mike Tyson opened up as a minus 300 betting favorite. People have kind of closed it down a little bit, but yeah, I think a lot of people think Roy Jones is going to get smoked.
Okay, so this is one thing a lot of people don't remember about Roy Jones. His last fight was in 2018. Excuse me. If I do remember, he won that. So,
did he fight Mike Tyson?
No.
Okay. Then it don't count.
All right, that's just wait. What? See, I was gonna be like, well, that's just like any other fighter fighting Mike Tyson. No, I can't use that analogy because we're literally talking about Mike Tyson now. Okay, all right? We know this. All right, he was probably anybody. If it ain't Mike Tyson, it was a tomato can. Okay, we know this. All right, so
is there any chance that Mike Tyson looks good on camera, but when he gets actually in the ring, that he's not? Because here's the thing: it's an exhibition fight. They might just stand around and spar and just like not even really hit each other. Like there's a chance of that too. Like this thing goes 8 rounds because they're not really trying to hit each other and trying to do anything with each other. Like is that?
Oh, go ahead and pose the question, please.
So I'm just saying, is that what we're likely to see? Is a Mike Tyson who just wanted to get the feel of actually having kind of a, a fight, but not really wanting to win the fight or trying to take Roy Jones's head off? Or are we going to see the old Iron Mike Tyson?
Are you asking if we're going to see a Mike Tyson that doesn't want to win? Is that what you're asking? Are you asking the King Lion himself not to kill his prey in his own fighting grounds? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm not asking that at all. I'm asking, is Mike Tyson, who has come to peace with the demons that have chased him into the ring, that Mike Tyson, who has had a lengthy career of doing a lot of other things and now just happens to be getting back into the boxing thing, but is not the same guy that we have known back in the 90s. He's not the same guy.
Okay.
I mean, he's the same frame. He's got the same skills, but he's not the same mentality. And so it may not be the same Mike Tyson that we're expecting to go into the ring.
You want to say something, Coach? Yeah, go ahead and say this, because I got one thing to add to that.
I mean, you're right. We are going to be seeing a 50-year-old man with a 50-year-old body that has been plagued from years of abuse, both in the ring and out of the ring. And so if you're walking in expecting to see Mike in his 20s, in his prime, no, that's not what you're going to see. But I tell you something else you're not going to see. You're not going to see a 50-year-old Mike who walks in there and is just there for pitter patter or whatever. Mike spoke about this at great lengths on one of his podcasts, and he's like, the gods of war are beckoning me. I want this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and I can't imagine a guy who's willing at 50 to step back in the ring, only doing it to step back in there and say, I want to pitter patter. Mike's going back in there because of his love of the game, and I think that's what we're going to see. I'm not saying it's going to be the greatest fight you've ever seen from Mike Tyson, by no means. But okay. I think for the product we're being presented, I think you're going to see a very apt and skilled 50-year-old Mike Tyson taking on another very skilled 50-year-old. I forget how old Roy is, but similar in age, Roy Jones Jr. And I think it's going to make for an interesting fight, if
47.
Nothing else.
Wait, no. Sorry. Not 47. I'm sorry. He is 51. So yeah. Mike Tyson's 3 years older.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. Roy Jones retired on a 4-win streak. He retired a champion of the WBU cruiserweight title. 2, Mike Tyson still looks the same. They showed a picture of him recently, and they showed a picture of him back in 1986. He has the same body. His face has facial hair and a tattoo now. And 3, the man who used to fight his demons has now made peace with his demons and will now have those same demons hyping him in his corner. That makes him an extremely dangerous man when he no longer has to fight his demons. So
okay. We're going to see. Like, this is why it's the #1 story. I am super amped about it. I'm going to let Phil have the last word. What Phil says is there won't be any brawling before the 3rd round. Tyson will be calm and collective, then TKO round 3.
Wow. Everybody's going for the 3rd round. I'm glad y'all think he's going to take that long. Okay.
All right. So that's it. That's the headliner. We're going to look at the fights that happened on Saturday night. I'm going to give you some results, and we'll talk about it. This is the official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we're looking at UFC on ESPN 14, Whittaker versus Till. Saturday, July 25th, 2020, at the Fight Island on the Flash Forum on Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, the UAE. There were some good fights on the card. We're going to go through some of the results. It looks like I only have 4 of the 5 fights for some reason on the results of the
I
4.
just saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you best a good fight there. But
yeah.
anyway.
So we got Paul Craig, who defeated
Yeah, come on.
Who defeated
Shimarad
Gazimurad Antigulov via submission in round 1. It was a triangle choke. It is a triangle choke. There you go. Yes, I knew that. Yes. It's quick. Paul Craig is creeping on the come up here. I mean, he's a 205er. You know, he's trying to make his way up the ladder in the light heavyweight division. You know, there's a lot of killers up there. He's going to be one of those guys that we're going to want to talk about here in the next couple of fights that he has.
And he will be a good fit in that murderer's row, because he went in there and I mean it was a pure aggressive testosterone filled fight that ended with a it was a good triangle choke. He was very patient with him, and it just the more that Gads moved, the worse it got for him. So it was just like it was sunk in, and it's over. Right. So anyway.
All right, the Cookie Monster, Carla Esparza, defeated Maria Rodriguez via split decision. Carla Esparza came out strong at the beginning. Maria Rodriguez came stronger at the end. There are a lot of people who said that they thought Rodriguez won that fight.
I have to disagree. Just because that Carla looked bad at the end.
Carla looked like Sophia on The Color Purple.
Oh, you need to quit. Okay.
All right, it's like right there.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not
big
gonna
puffy
do it.
eye.
I was gonna quote the movie, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna be good.
There. This Carla Esparza right there.
But it was a good fight. It was a good back and forth fight. The one thing that I will say was exactly what the corner said, what everybody said. Why is Carla trying to? Carla was doing great by outpointing Rodriguez, and it seemed like that Carla wanted to finish her, and it was just like, no, you grind her out. That's your tools. Your skill set is designed to grind people out. Grind her out. Quit trying to go for a finish. If it presents itself, by all means, go for it. But she did excellent grinding her out. But it seemed like she wanted to finish her, and it took her coaches to like, look, chill out, go for the grind. And that's what she finally did. And that's what got her the win. So,
Yeah, it didn't have to be as close a fight as it was, though.
No, it did not.
This could have been a Carla Esparza walking away with. But, we were talking before the show. This could potentially put Carla Esparza in prime position to fight for a title unexpectedly.
Yes. It looks like, from what Dana White was saying, that, a lot of the division is either out with injuries. A couple are getting are having surgery. One's having a baby. So it's actually, I think it's, believe it or not, it's Carla and Maria and JJ and Rose that are available fighters right now. So it looks like that they're, and of course, as Zhang Weili, if they can get her to Yaz Island again, if we do another fight island. But for right now, it looks like it's those 4 fighters that are left in the division to fight it out. So it could be the winners fight and the losers fight, and then we'll see what happens.
Well, here's the thing, it's clear that Joanna Jędrzejczyk, George, is a better fighter than Carla Esparza, but Joanna got her shot and she didn't get it done. Would you put Joanna Jędrzejczyk in the ring against Zhang Weili again, or would you go with some fresher blood like Carla Esparza, who's on a couple of fight win streak?
JJ's coming off of that loss, so you gotta square up against someone else, preferably somebody else who's coming off a loss as well. That way you give her a chance to really, make a showing or a case for any future title shots. That's my thoughts on it.
All right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a JJ fan. Like, I like JJ.
Mm-hmm.
I want that belt back around her waist.
Right.
We'll see.
So yeah, I agree with you. I feel like Joanna has had a number of opportunities to fight for the title. I want to see someone else fight for it. I don't think Carla Esparza is the person though. Like even though she's put together some good fights and she puts together some wins, I think that at the top of the strawweight division there are 3 women. It's Zhang Weili, Rose Thug No Hair Eunice, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Everybody else is a distant is far behind. Even people like Claudia Gadelha and Jessica Andrade, those they don't have what it takes to wear that belt. Even though Andrade did beat Rose Namajunas, I mean, we saw in the rematch that it wasn't even really that close. So I feel like there's really 3 at the top, and I want to see Rose versus Zhang Weili. If we can make that happen, great. If we can't, then let's wait, because everything else is not really interesting to me.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I mean, it's not that I'm not interested in seeing Weili fight any other fights, and I would like her to get a couple of, I guess, what you would say, tune-up fights, even as the champ, in order to prep her for some of the competition that she's going to be faced with, particularly in Rose and anyone else who comes back looking for that second or third opportunity at the belt, such as JJ. So I would like to see Zhang Weili fight someone, maybe a number 6 or number 7 ranked opponent or something like that. One, to give her that octagon time, because we haven't seen her. We haven't seen her against some of the lesser opponents in that division, and I think that would be good for her as the champ, and also it gives us a little bit more time to look at her.
Okay.
And plus, this is one of those situations, just like when John Jones was introduced to the light heavyweight division. He had to evolve that division. We have 3 women, 3 fighters, excellent fighters, that can evolve that division. So we need them to cycle through these fighters so they can be better. So we can get a better division out there in the end run.
So I'm looking at the current rankings right now for women's strawweight. Zhang Weili, there you go. She's the champ. You got Rose at number 1, Jessica Andrade, who's going to be falling because she just lost to Rose. You got Joanna at number 3. And then you've got Tatiana Suarez and Nina Ansarov. So those are 2 that we haven't talked a lot about, but they are also up and coming fighters that we could potentially see. So I think Carla Esparza is probably better off, possibly facing one of those if she can get that fight. Otherwise, she may have to face Jessica Andrade or Claudia Gadelha, but I think she's already fought them.
I think honestly it should be, if it's got to happen, if there's a fight that's got to be made, I would put JJ versus Marina Rodriguez, and I'll put Carla versus Rose. That's the natural progression of it, and let evolution do what it does best and cull out the weak and make the strong.
Yeah.
And who does Weili fight?
Rose. She's got to fight Rose next.
No, who did you just? I thought you just said Rose was.
Well, it'd be Rose versus Carla, and whoever wins out of that fight should go after Weili.
All right.
Because what happens if Carla beats Rose in that odd sense of the world? In Earth 2, Carla just beat Rose Namajunas. She's got to fight Weili Zhang at that point. So are you going to still say that she's not worthy of it when she just beat Rose Namajunas? Thug, no hair, Namajunas?
Okay. So I'm trying to pull up the ranking so I can give you what I think.
So Rose had a broken nose. She had surgery. Surgery about 10 days ago. So she's out. Yeah, that's what's going to make it hard for her.
So that means it could be Carla and Weili Zhang and JJ versus Marina.
But Carla is not as high as you guys are. Carla is like 7.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking.
She's got Tatiana Suarez and Nina Ansarov ahead of her. She's got to fight one of those.
But they are out.
Are they both out too?
Yeah. Okay, like I said, the only people that are active in the division right now that can go for a fight is Weili Zhang, now Carla Esparza, JJ, and Marina Rodriguez. All right, JJ and Marina Rodriguez have losses. Are currently on a loss. All right, Carla Esparza is on a 4-fight win streak. She goes after Weili Zhang. Okay, JJ goes after Marina, even though Marina is ranked 9. Okay, those are your fighters.
By the way, Nina Ansarov, do you know who she's attached to?
Who?
Amanda Nunes.
Ooh. What is it about that? Is she the one that's having the kid?
Yep. She gave birth. She gave birth a month ago, so she said she wants to fight within 6 months after the giving birth. So she wants to get back in the ring quick.
No, that's not quick. 6 months. That's most fighters take 2 fights in 6 months.
Yeah.
But you just had a baby. Come on now. You gotta let the.
I'm not hating.
Dude, no wonder why the United States doesn't have like maternity leave.
The situation over in Weili
People
Zhang's
like
division.
George.
Carla Esparza fights Weili Zhang. Tatiana Suarez fights Rose Namajunas. And have we seen Claudia Gadelha against JJ yet?
Yes.
Did they fight?
Because JJ was 1 fight away from wiping out that division. JJ has fought all of the the more tenured fighters in that. She's fought Jessica Andrade twice, I believe. She's fought Claudia Gadelha once or twice. Rose twice. She's fought a lot of people, and that's why people are like, well, Rose Namajunas or Weili Zhang Weili is going to be the greatest strawweight ever. It's like, you realize what JJ has done in her career. JJ was picking them up and putting them down quick. So, and we're sitting here. We just spent like 10 minutes talking about Carla Esparza. Why are we talking about Carla Esparza anyway?
The women's strawweight division.
Hold on. Stop that. Okay, see, that's what a lot of people don't understand about Carla Esparza. She's on a 4-fight win streak. She has put together 4 wins. All right.
Who did she beat?
Name four fighters that went. 4 fighters that said I can beat Carla Esparza.
Who did she just beat this weekend? I'll wait.
Maria Rodriguez.
Marina Rodriguez.
You get what I'm saying? It's like,
but see that, and see, that's the thing. We cannot. All right, if they're in the top 10, we cannot underplay these fighters, because guess what? They're in the top 10, regardless of what division they are. If they're in a rank, if they got a number beside their name, we really can't discredit them like that, because that's how we cheapen
just
the
said
fight.
something totally different 5 minutes ago. We just talked about how to, other than the top 3 in that division, how everybody else was nowhere near their skill level.
But once again, that's where we come in with the force the evolution, okay? Because we got to get these fighters in here. We got to get these killers fighting these other fighters, so we get them in the mix and get them right. That's how we do it.
Get them leveling up. That's what we want to do. Okay.
That's right.
Can we talk about the Fabricio Verdoom and Alexander Gustafson? Now, I called this one. I said this was going to happen. I mean, I feel like Captain Obvious, because if anyone said this wasn't going to happen, then they really need to check their knowledge. Send me your MMA card, because you got Alexander Gustafson coming up from light heavyweight, coming up to heavyweight, fighting Fabricio Verdoom. Alexander's last fight, when Alexander fought John Jones took him down and basically held him down. I don't know if it was a submission. I think it was a TKO. But you had to know that Fabricio Verdoom, one of the most elite Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighters in heavyweight, was going to take Alexander Gustafson down. That was a given. And submit him? Come on, bro.
By an arm bar. That's like your big brother beating you up in front of the crowd.
Stop hitting yourself.
Okay,
That's what it is.
So I'm going to say it. I'm going to just go and put it out there that I did go against the grain on this one. Okay, I did go against the grain. I did it because I was like, okay, Alex is going to go to a new division. He's got a new mindset. We'll see how it happened. What happened? He met the brick wall. And when you meet the brick wall, there's only two things that's going to happen. Either you're going to get over it or you're going to go through it. And he went through it. And he got an arm bar and a pat on the back. And if you notice, after Fabricio was getting up, he patted him on the back and said something to him, and I know what he said. Welcome to the heavyweights, as he got up. So, hey, I'll take mine with mayo and mustard, please.
There you go.
Extra
Eat that crow, Mr.
Pickles.
Yeah. So I had to change that setting so you could hear me playing the sound there.
Couldn't get my X-Files theme up, but yeah, you got that going.
No,
he did
trust me.
He did it quick too, didn't he, John?
Yeah, he did.
Like, he was waiting on it.
You saw that too. Okay, that's all. That's all I want to say. Okay.
All right.
At any rate.
So yeah. It was good. Alexander.
It was a great fight.
KC is chatting over here. He said that Gustafson looked fat.
He didn't look fat. He looked full. He looked full. He looks filled out. I was okay with that. Now, if you want to talk about somebody that was looking a little chunky in their Valley Tudo shorts, we could talk about the next fight.
Oh, and that's the one that got left off. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Shogun Hua defeated Little Nog via unanimous decision. It was unanimous.
And this
right?
was it was a unanimous decision, as was the previous two fights. It's a 3-0. Okay, so this one was is a pride fight. Okay, because you got to understand.
2 times removed.
Yeah, you got to understand the history between the Nogueiras and the Huas, because one is from Brazilian top team, the other one is from Shoot Box. Now Shoot Box is full of crazy people. Okay, like Vanderlei Silva and everything, because when they train, they go in, they fight, and that's cool. All right, if you're into that, but it was almost, when they were in their 20s, it was like a gang style mentality. These guys were like Crips and Bloods. I mean, they see each other, they were ready to scrap right there. It didn't matter if it was in the ring, in the streets, behind the stage, at the beach. There is a fight on the beach between oh God, it was a Gracie and I believe it was a Nogueira that they had the videotape on the beach back in the day. Okay, and it was crazy, but I'd say that this was a throwback. It was a great fight. It was a great fight for the Masters division that really needs to happen. I don't know why y'all keep playing with me.
Oh my gosh, here we
Juicy,
go.
I thought that same thing as well, John.
Yeah, you were looking at it like
this makes the case for a Masters division.
Yeah, because you got these fighters. As long as these fighters are training people, as long as they keep smelling the sweat in the gym, and they keep feeling that, they keep tasting that iron in their blood when they're rolling, they're gonna be wanting to fight. Okay, they want to get back in that ring. Go ahead and get them a master division, open weight like the old school UFC used to be.
I don't know about that now.
Nah,
Can we keep some people safe?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about keeping fighters safe.
Oh yeah, we're gonna segue into that too. All right, because I got the perfect judge for that. And we'll just say we just let them go open weight and just go for it. Just for the old pride rounds. 5 minutes for the first round, 3 minutes for the second round, and 3 minutes for the third round. No soccer kicks though. That's the only thing.
Okay, so I propose for those of you listening out there that we start a drinking game. So every time that John Keys references a Masters division, you got to take a drink. Okay. Every time that John Keys references John Jones and Daniel Cormier and some jilted love affair, you got to take a drink. When Kelechi references a fighters union, you got to take a drink.
Got to take 2 drinks.
2 drinks. Anytime I lament over the fact that Kelechi has my belt in Denver, you got to take a drink.
I just finished half a beer just based on.
I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you do this, I advise you to do this with non-alcoholic drinks, because if you do it with alcoholic drinks, your liver will not like you, ever.
I just finished half a beer, just don't know him naming those three. Right, I guess because we hit all of those on this episode alone.
This episode alone, we've already done it.
And if Factory X is mentioned,
you gotta take a drink.
No, you gotta take the whole drink at that point. Okay, so we will give you alcohol poisoning, is what we're saying in the end. Thomas.
Yeah,
okay?
I think that we should probably add something to the website, which is the Combat Sports Talk drinking game.
I think we should. We can do that. We can do that.
Absolutely.
Why not? It's something.
Oh yes, Kalechi has a good one right here. He says, "Drink every time John says play my music." and to think that on the welcome video, I said that John Keys is a conspiracy theorist, and he's like, I am not a conspiracy theorist. But the number of times he says play my music, come on, bro.
I'm just saying that I already know what you're thinking. I'm just going ahead and give you the carpet to put me on. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Man.
I got you. I don't mind playing the music.
Yeah.
All right.
Good. It was a good fight though. It was a good throwback fight. You know, for those two fighters, it went fast. It was a hard hitting fight. There was no give between either one of them.
Round one.
That's how,
round one. I mean, it's pretty amazing what Shogun Rua took, because he was taking some bombs, and you know, it was funny. I was looking at some of the comments, and they were like, Shogun Rua broke the rules of the fight. No takedowns.
Yes, exactly, and that's legit. That's legit.
Lil Nog had him turned into a wrestler.
Yep, turned him into a wrestler real quick. But anyway, moving on.
All right, in the main event of the evening, Robert Whittaker defeated Darren Till via unanimous decision. You know, I've said that Robert Whittaker was a complete fighter. I said it. He is a complete fighter. He is not necessarily on the level of Izzy Adesanya. We saw that. We got to see what happens when a complete fighter faces the last stylebender, and it doesn't work out well for that guy. But when you look at everybody else that Robert Whittaker has fought, he has been game. He has been there and in their face. Now, Darren Till's still relatively young in this particular sport. So I think that 185 is the right weight class for him, but I think he needs to get a little more seasoned, because I think Robert Whittaker exploited some of the holes in his game. But, you know, Darren Till, I think, is going to be around too. This was a great fight if you like that kind of a battle.
Yes.
And that's all I have to say about that.
I just had an opportunity to watch this fight maybe literally 30 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And I kept hearing everybody talking about, you know, the technical prowess of both and how it was such a technical fight back and forth. And, you know, given I only got to basically glance at the fight, but from what I saw, man, these guys were going at it. I saw head kicks being thrown. Your boy Whittaker, he really changed up his MMA style. Like, he came out first, he was in his karate stance, and I saw him break out the wrestling, just doing different things. So I can really see why fans were excited about this fight, just off the little bit I saw.
One of the things that I think that we did not talk about in the last fight, or in the last episode when we were talking about like getting up for this, Robert Whittaker has been dealing with a lot of things in his life, though. Like, he has missed 2 championship fights because of like near life-threatening injuries, and then I believe he had a daughter who was very sick, and she may have passed, like a young toddler age daughter, and I'm trying to find it, but I believe that was something else that was providing, you know, taking up his attention while he was fighting. Yeah, so he had to donate bone marrow for his sick daughter, but I think she did pass. I
didn't know that. That's news.
Let me see here.
Let's see here. Or maybe she's not dead. I don't mean to. Okay, you guys find it while we go on.
All right, go ahead. I'll look.
Yeah. I know that she had she needed she needed him to give bone marrow or something like that, and so that was keeping him out of fighting while he was trying to take care of his daughter. But I'm not sure that if she survived or not. So while you guys look for that, we'll go on to keep the show going. We're going to close the book on this one, put it back on the shelf. That this card is history. We're going to go into finding the angles and talk about the headlines that are making waves out of UFC on ESPN 14. All right, this is the finding the angles. This is where we're going to talk about some headlines. The first thing I want to talk about is Khamzat. Dang it! I practiced. I Khabib.
Yeah, that's what they're calling him.
Khabib. Khamzat Chimaev. There you go. I've been practicing it, and then I blew it on the when I got to try to do it. Khamzat Chimaev. He is basically Big Khabib, or Khabib, as we will now call him. But what makes him special, because we were really following people like, from Dagestan, Zabit Magomedsharipov, right? Like this tall, lanky, 145-pound fighter who's making his way up. And then you got Khamzat, who just shows up, fights 2 fights in 11 days, outstrikes his opponents like 190-something to 2. And now he's like, I will smoke everybody. He's like, I'm gonna crush everybody. Anybody you put in the ring, I'm gonna crush him. Yeah, this guy is taking the this guy is taking the UFC by storm, just like Khabib did. Like, remember when Khabib first got to the UFC? He suplexed the dude like 4 times in a row. Yeah, just dropping a dude on his head. Like the guy was getting ragdolled. And this is what Chimaev is doing to at least to the last 2 fighters that he fought. They 0 strikes and 2 strikes in 2 fights. That was the offense against him. That's sheer domination.
He turned around and asked Dana for a quick turnaround again. He's like, why even bother leaving the island? I might as well just stay and fight. This is becoming more and more like Enter the Dragon. What was the movie? Was it Enter the Dragon where they took him to the island?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So think about it in terms of that. Like with Khabib here, he's fought 2 fights. Leave me on the island. I'm fighting again. Basically, that is the storyline of the movie. If you kept winning, you stayed on the island. If you lost, you got killed or fed to the sharks.
Or became a drug dealer. Remember that the main villain was trying to make Jim Brown into was it Jim Brown or Jim Kelly? Jim Kelly. Yeah, he tried telling you.
With date not sales. I bet Ryan don't even know who Jim Kelly is.
Man, I know who Jim Kelly is, but that's because I had because of the internet.
Oh, turn off your video. Okay, me and George will just finish it up. Goodness. Oh my God. But yeah, Jim Kelly. He wanted Jim Kelly to sell drugs. And Jim Kelly's like, man, you remind me of some comic book villain, and he got killed for it. So yeah, Enter the Dragon, classic.
All right, so I just want to say, I guess my big question is, after seeing Khamzat Chimaev, aka Khabib, in 2 fights in 11 days, are you on the hype train?
We need to add that one to the drinking game too.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to say, I'm on that hype train, man. I'm signing up for it. I like his attitude, man. That he wants these quick turnarounds. That at some point that's going to be detrimental to him. But if he's healthy, if he didn't sustain any damage, stick around. Go ahead and get another fight in real quick. Absolutely.
Hey, if he thinks he's healthy enough to do it, let him in the ring. Okay, do it, Uncle Dana. He said he wants a quick turnaround. From what I'm seeing here on the internet, they are looking for a quick turnaround for this man. That's what I'm talking about.
They got a lot of fight cards to fill, man.
But can he even get into the United States though? He can't.
He doesn't need to get there.
Apparently
Think about it. In less than a month, we're gonna have another fight on the island. All the big shows are taking place on the island right now, from what I understand.
Not 253 though. 253 is gonna be in Vegas. That's Daniel Cormier versus versus Stipe Miocic. That's gonna be in the United States, but maybe 254. I don't know that it's been booked yet. John Keys, are you on the hype train for Khabib?
For a man with that type of attitude and that type of skill set, I'm about to say yeah. Because now we always wanted Khabib to be at the heavier weights. We ain't got to want that no more because now we got it. Okay, so yeah, let's see how far he goes. Let's see who Uncle Dana puts him up against next.
All right. Well, I'm on the hype train. Even though he's hailing from Sweden, that's the flag they put on him. We know where he really from. So yeah, I'm on the hype train for that, and wherever he's going, I got him.
All
right, here we go. Let's talk about the other big headline coming out of this, and it was interesting because it wasn't main card stuff. This is undercard stuff. But Francisco Trinaldo versus Jay Herbert. Now this was one that's got every. So just can catch up. You have Francisco Trinaldo. He's a bit of a veteran in the game. Jay Herbert, he's coming up, and Herbert is winning the fight. I mean, he's already rocked Francisco Trinaldo. Coming into, I believe, the third round, Trinaldo lands a kick, followed by a punch. You've got him going back and forth, and then Trinaldo comes over with a hard overhand, I guess overhand left, and catches Herbert right in the middle of the forehead. Herbert falls to the ground, stunned. Trinaldo runs up to him, looks at him like, "You're done," but Herb is standing there, and he doesn't know what else to do, so he starts dropping bombs on Jay Herbert. Everybody's freaking out. People are yelling, "Stop the fight!" And eventually, after 4 unsustained blows, Herb Dean comes and stops the fight. So everybody's upset. Commentators, Dan Hardy is yelling in the face of Herb Dean that he needs to do his job. Now, this comes after a previous fight where people felt like the fight was stopped late, and then this one happened. So Herb Dean is now kind of under fire for having stopped the fight really late. And we joke about it here on the show, but I guess the big question is, was it a late stoppage?
I see both sides. Unfortunately, I see both sides. I can see where people are saying that he was wrong. I can see where people can say he was right. Okay, it all depends on from Herb Dean's point of view. From what we saw, dude got hit. He got starched. Okay, and hit the ground like as if you let your surfboard hit the ground. That's how hard he hit the ground. And I saw it, and I was like, okay, he's just going to walk over there and he's going to walk off. No, Herb just sat there and watched like, you're going to finish that off? Okay, you're going to finish off that cornbread? All right, and he did.
you want your cornbread?
And I hate to laugh about it, but yeah, and the dude started dropping bombs, and then he stopped it. Dan Hardy, however, you could hear him yelling to stop the fight. And not only could you hear him yelling on from his mic, you could hear him in the ring. And that can be a problem because as a judge, as a ref, if you hear with a empty room like that, if you hear somebody that isn't one of the corners screaming, "Stop, the fight's over, stop the fight," that could be a bad call, a real bad call for the ref. So who's wrong?
I didn't get to see the fight yet, so I'm probably going to watch it later tonight. But Herb has been on the defense already, talking about his take on it, and he said something to the effect of, we all when we're in there, and the only people there are us. It's no fans, and so each of us has our job descriptions outlined, laid out before us. And when I've got somebody yelling, "Stop the fight over here," you know, to me, he basically said, I have to drown that out because I have to understand that I'm either giving a person an opportunity to intelligently defend themselves, or vice versa. I'm taking some opportunities away from somebody. I don't agree with Dan Hardy yelling at Herb Dean to stop the fight. Herb Dean is a veteran ref, and we all know referees make mistakes. Fighters make mistakes. Fighters kick people in the balls. Fighters knee people when an opponent is down. Stuff happens in a fight, and you can't expect 100% accurate decisions from a referee on the fly in, I don't know how many fights he ref that night or didn't or whatever. And then on top of that, there's already, what would you call it? Something in the air because there was a previous fight that wasn't stopped in a timely fashion. So we're already skewed towards stopping fights early because we've seen something bad happen. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I'd like to say that I trust in Herb Dean. I haven't seen the fight yet. That may change once I get a look at it and see everything it is. But what I can say is that in totality, all of the fights that we've seen now without a crowd appear on surface level to be more violent, more traumatic to fighters. We're seeing more guys take and sustain damage, and just in general. So I'd like to get a look at it. Right now, I want to say I side on Herb Dean's side. He's a veteran ref in the game. Herb is not in there making mistakes on purpose or flippantly just not following up with things he should. If he didn't stop a fight, one, either it's something he didn't see or there's something he saw that we didn't see. It's as simple as that.
So, I'll go to where Daniel Cormier and Ariel Helwani were talking about it. And so we saw Jai Herbert get starched. I mean, he hit the ground, just full back. He hit it hard. Yeah. But when you look at different camera angles, you see that even when he was on the ground, he had one hand up next to his jaw and then one hand up to the sky. And it looked as though he was making eye contact with his opponent. So, it wasn't one of those things where, I know that Kelechi will always laugh when I call it the stiffy, where you get hit and you just get stiff, and you fall to the ground. It wasn't that kind of thing, right? And we talk about like when fighters are defenseless, when you have both of your hands on the ground and you're not defending your head, then you're defenseless. That's not intelligent defense. But this guy had his hand, at least one hand up, and Herb Dean is in the right position. It's up to Herb Dean to stop the fight. So whether or not Herbert should have taken extra strikes or not is not of the consequence, or not Francisco Trinaldo's problem. The fight is still going. He hasn't been called off, so he has to throw. He has to. You
have to force the referee's hand in a situation like that,
right? And so,
if as a fighter, I say this to all fighters out there: when you're in a position where you have to question whether or not a referee is supposed to interfere in something, you have to force the referee's hand, and that does mean inflicting damage on someone as a result, because otherwise he's just going to look at you. That's his job at that point. If you're not finishing that fight, the referee's job is to observe and intervene if necessary. So you have to create the circumstances necessary for him to intervene. You get what I'm saying? You have to force the referee's hand in a situation like that.
I have been very critical of Herb Dean in previous fights. If Kelechi was here, he would tell you that I've always been protect the fighter. I would rather see a fight stopped early than see it stopped late. However, I do not think this is one of those times where it was a fight that was stopped too late. I've gone and I've seen it. He did look like he did look rocked when he went to the ground, but given the fact that he had a hand up, the fact that he was finding his target and to see where his opponent was, I don't think that there is enough that could have been done to say that the fight needed to stop immediately when he hit the ground. I felt like there needed to be at least a few strikes, maybe not 4, I don't know, but the fight needed to continue because we see knockdowns all the time. And fighters get back up and they find a way to get their bearings. So you have to at least be able to walk in there and prove that you have finished this fight. And that's what Trinaldo eventually did. And so therefore we got the victory. I think that it was probably unnecessary. And one of the things that came out that Big John McCarthy said is that Dan Hardy knows Jai Herbert. They have a relationship. They train together. So maybe this was him emoting because he saw his friend, getting whooped. Remember, we talked about, you see somebody getting beat up in the alley, you can't just sit there and watch this happen. That's basically what was happening with Dan Hardy. This dude that I care for just got dropped, and now he's gonna eat 3, maybe 4 big bombs to the face while we wait for this fight to get ended. So you got to take that into consideration. So there you go. Go ahead.
It's been very interesting having these fights without a crowd because we're getting to see so many things that you don't normally see spotlighted as a result of the crowd. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're hearing things that you wouldn't normally get to hear. You're hearing fighters take shots. You're hearing corners. You're hearing commentators making suggestions to fighters during the fight. Things like that we don't normally get to hear as a result of having a crowd, man. So, I can't say this has been an interesting experiment in the way of not having a crowd. And I'm honestly, I wouldn't mind, once we do get back to normal, having some opportunities where we see crowdless fights still. You get what I'm saying? Like, I know we got to bring the crowd back for the sake of the box office and money and things like that. I know that is a money maker. But I'd also be interested in, from time to time, seeing some of these big fights take place without a crowd. It has been an interesting experiment, and we've gotten to see some pretty entertaining as well as enlightening experiences as a result.
So let's go around the horn here and just see what you guys think. Number one, do you prefer the fights with the fans or without?
Now that I've seen it without, I'm actually enjoying them. I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoy it. Because you hear so much. You can actually hear the conversation that goes on in the ring. You can hear, everything changes. All right, and we actually do get to see the difference between fighters who are hyped by the crowd versus fighters who really know how to fight or are in there to whoop that butt. Okay, so yeah, I mean, can we see the UFC Fight Nights without the crowds and maybe the pay-per-views with the crowd? I like that format. I like to see that happen.
Or vice versa. Do fight nights with the crowd and big pay-per-views. Let's fly over to the island. Get it on, fellas. Fight Island. Or Enter the Dragon style.
You get to go to the island.
Yeah, for me, I've been a fan of the not having the crowd. I actually like being able to hear the fighters talking to each other. I like them reacting to the commentators. I like hearing the coaches calling out instructions. I like hearing the punch land. I like hearing the leg kick land and it reverberate all throughout the empty arena. Like, all of that is wonderful for me. I don't like the person who's yelling woo all the time and just randomly yelling woo in the audience. I don't like hearing the booing when a fighter wins a fight, but the crowd didn't like the way the crowd isn't happy about it, or or the times when there is a fight in the audience that seems to always happen at these types of events when people mix fighting with drinking. But so I like it with no crowd. But I know that's like you said, George. There's money in the gate, and you've got to have a gate if you want to make that money.
Yeah.
All right. Last story, and then we'll go into the fight card.
All right.
7-second knockout of the female boxer. Now, did anybody see it?
I saw the video.
Remind me of the names. I think I did see this video.
So,
she comes out and gives that 2-piece in the soda.
Yeah, and it's over.
Girl is stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard it was Sinesa Estrada, and let's see here. What was the other one? Atkins?
Yeah. Sinesa Estrada and Adkins.
There are consequences to not coming out wet.
Yeah.
Literally.
No, well, so this is the thing that people don't know, because it's a shocking video when you see it. Because basically, Estrada comes across from her corner, walks over, pop, 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 and then it's over.
Yeah.
Like, that is all. But what you don't know is that the lady who got knocked out is a 42-year-old fighter who had recently turned pro. She had 5 fights under her belt. All 5 of those fights were people who had less experience than her.
And she just started boxing at 39.
Yeah, so she has only been boxing for 3 years.
Still.
And she was a late fight replacement for a pro fighter in Estrada who just finished beating an Olympian.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
you have a lamb and a lion,
what
and
you're
you're like,
saying this fight shouldn't have been made?
I think perhaps we should have not made this fight. Golden Boy Productions.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I'll say it, that no, Golden Boy should not have made this fight. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that there were people that looked at the contract, that there were people that were in the gym that was training her, and in the end, herself that should have sat there and was like, I don't know about this one.
Maybe she was. Maybe she was like, I don't know about this.
Because a lot of people failed before she even stepped in the ring, which, hey, once you step in that ring, you're saying, hey, whatever happens, happens, okay? If I go out there and she puts the shabibity paps on me and I'm on the ground, that's what it is. Shabibity paps.
Now, is that our word of the day?
I think that's going to be our words of the day. Forget your SAT today, okay? We are on the weekend.
Shabibity paps.
Shabibity paps, okay? You want to know what a shabibity pap is?
I got 7-second knockout. That's what a shabibity pap is. It takes you longer to say shabibity pap.
Literally, okay? That's what your cat gives you. That's what your cat gives you when it's mad at you, and it starts striking you real fast and hits you for like a 5-piece combo. That's the shabibity paps, okay? It's up. And that's ironically exactly what happened to that girl's face. And that was it.
That was it.
Right?
So
that was it.
So I got a question for you, George. Have you ever seen a fight like this? I mean, you've refereed some fights. I know the answer to this because there was some that we were there for when we went over and did the live event over at Dominion, where there was one fighter who was very talented and another fighter who's very green, and you see this clear, and you're like, oh my gosh, we can't, this should not go on. How does that happen?
Bad matchmaking. In situations like what we saw at DFC, there is also the fact that you're not having a deep enough talent pool to draw from. Particularly when you mix combat sports such as boxing and kickboxing on Muay Thai, which I think you saw that at DFC. There were boxing matches as well as kickboxing matches. And so you'll get there and let's say there's a matchup you had in a kickboxing fight. Your guy didn't show up. You want a replacement? Yeah, we got one, but it's this boxer over here. Well, I'm a Muay Thai fighter. Yeah, well, just throw your hands against against a guy who's been training boxing all his life. Clear skill separation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or vice versa, a boxer who comes out and is like, yeah, I don't have a matchup, but I'm here to fight. Oh, you want me to take this Muay Thai fight against this guy? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't have shin guards. Yeah, give me those two little thin pads right there. Oh, that's how you kick, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
You see it all the time in either small promotions or smokers and things like that take place. So I'm not surprised at a 7-second knockout of a fighter whose record wasn't made public necessarily and who was placed in late last minute. It's actually very common in combat sports.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, guys, you see it all the time, even in the UFC. Masvidal took a fight on 6 days. Excuse me, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not even a week. God took a week to make the world. That man said, I'm fighting a world champion on 6 days.
Oh, wow. He's giving hype to Street Jesus.
There you go.
He's giving them some hype. Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
All right. So let's get into the last segment of the show. This is the fight card. All right, this is the fight card. This is where we look at the fights that are coming up this weekend. Wouldn't you believe it? We had 4 fights in 14 days on Fight Island. Come back the very next week. We've got another fight at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. They are trying to make that quota. They are putting fights back to back to back to back to back.
I get a call, Dana White. Come on, I'll take a Muay Thai fight.
Wait.
Mike Tyson giving fights. I can't get one. We're the same age.
Somebody gonna let you fight?
There you go.
Here it is.
Even you. I even got you.
I'm actually training for something right now.
All right. Okay. We ain't saying nothing.
Just in case.
All right. We ain't saying nothing.
Okay. I hope she doesn't watch this tonight.
Oh, I'm at her house too now. So yeah, I got to be real quiet.
Yeah. By the way, I didn't put it on screen, but Kelechi was wanting to know about the Wicked poster behind you.
I bet. Tell Casey to be quiet because I have an idea or two of what he's really up to, and he don't want me to call him out.
Oh, Suki now. What's the word? I gotta go back. We gotta make that a drop. Shabibbity pap.
How you say it, John?
Shabibbity paps.
Shabibbity paps.
It sounds exactly what it's. You spell it out just like it sounds. Shabibbity paps.
Yeah, that is now part of the combat sports talk lexicon. Shabibbity paps.
That's when you get more than 5 punches in the space of a second. There you go.
All right. Well, we might see some shabibbity paps this weekend. It is UFC Fight Night 15, Brunson versus Shabazian, August 1st, 2020, at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's a bunch of fights on the card. Not a lot of the biggest names, but there's still some really good fighters on this card. We'll just run through it. If you guys want to talk about any particular fight, just jump in. Chris Gutierrez versus Luke Sanders. You got Ray Borg versus Nathan Manis. Jonathan Martinez versus Frankie Saenz. Randy Brown versus Vicente Luque. Joanne Calderwood versus Jennifer Maia. JoJo, they like to call her.
That might be a very interesting jiu-jitsu fight. Something tells me that's going to be
I thought Calderwood was more of a striker.
Well, she's about to learn. I hope her ground game is up because I believe Jennifer Maia is has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But
her last name is Maia. You know what I like to say.
Yeah, that Brazilian blood is strong. Okay.
Last name Maia, most dangerous man at welterweight. Before Gilbert Burns got on the screen.
I know, right?
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Ed Herman versus Da Eun Jung. Trevin Giles versus Jun Young Park. Marcus Perez versus Eric Spicely. And the main event of the evening, Darren Brunson versus Edmund Shabazian.
Whoa. I thought Trevin Giles was fighting Kevin Holland.
Maybe it was the late fights replacement.
Yeah, I think Kevin's stepping in to take that. Kevin said he'll be your Huckleberry.
All right.
And then there's another one I think you missed off of there. Did you say Lando's fight, Lando Venata, Bobby Green?
No, I don't
No,
have.
He did not. He did not say that. No, he didn't.
Ryan, what's going on, boy? I gotta keep you up to date on stuff.
It just depends. It depends on where I get the card from, because I'll be honest with you. I don't always get it from the same place, and because I don't go to the UFC because it's harder to format for the run sheet. So I usually get it from like MMA Junkie or whatever, and they may not be up to date. Not calling out MMA Junkie, just saying, using you as an example. That's all. I'm not saying that I got this from.
I think you're taking shots at you, MMA Junkie.
I love MMA Junkie.
I heard that, and I wasn't gonna say nothing, but yeah.
Yeah. So you are correct. Bobby Green versus Lando Venata. Kevin Holland versus Trevin Giles.
Yeah. I think actually this is a pretty interesting card. I'm not necessarily interested in the Brunson fight, although Espn is like 11-0 if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
But I'm definitely interested in the Vicente Luque fight and Randy Brown. Lando Venata and Bobby Green. I like that fight. Lando's a pretty wild and crazy fighter, man. Not wild and crazy. What's the word? He's an exciting fighter. He does some unorthodox things that tend to win him fights. And we're all familiar with Kevin Holland right now, the Trailblazer to the top. Go check him out if you haven't heard about him already.
Hometown hero. We're on that hype train.
Well, speaking of hometown heroes, Trevin Giles is out of Texas too, if I'm not mistaken. So we got a Texas connection coming up here.
All right.
Man, so that kind of rhymes.
That's one to keep on your eyes on, ladies and gentlemen.
Just a footnote.
Hey,
I'm
Ryan,
sorry.
did you ever say you were on the Kevin Holland hype train?
I did.
All right. What about you, John?
I jumped on the Kevin Holland hype train when we saw him do the late fight replacement against Thiago Santos, and he fought him like tough.
I think I need to see one more fight. I think I said I need to see one more fight before I jump on the hype train. So here we got our second fight with him. If he's about that work, I'm gonna be on the hype train too.
Guys, speaking of hype trains, I'm gonna tell y'all, if you get a chance, go out on your Instagram and follow one of his coaches, Darren Lamb, here out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area as well. He puts up some pretty interesting content, and he is not afraid to speak his mind about issues and or things going on in the fight community.
All right.
Just one footnote. Jennifer Maia, while she does have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, she is a Muay Thai and boxing specialist out of the Shoot to Box Academy. So she crazy too. And she's coming off a loss to Caitlin Chikugian. But so it's gonna be a
Chikugian is an up and coming fighter. Like,
yes, she is.
So yeah, I don't see that as a bad loss right there. I mean, all losses are bad, but some losses are worse than others. If you get beat by the Shabibity Paps, then that's a bad loss.
Yeah, real bad. But it looks like it's going to be a striking contest after all. So JoJo and Jennifer are gonna get the scrapping.
Don't be fooled by some of these female fights, man. I mean, we just saw it back at, what was it, the prior UFC fight now. What's her name? Ariana Lipsky and Luana Carolina. Carolina comes in as the Muay Thai specialist. Lipsky said, "Hold my beer and give me your knee."
Yes.
Yes. That was a nasty knee bar. Even just seeing the steel shot.
About that. Ugh. Yeah, we talked about it. Did you see her look in her eye, George, when she looked over at her corner like, "Hey, y'all want to see a leg?" and just yank that sucker back?
Want to see a dead body?
That's right.
She did have that look when she's like, "You want to see a dead body?" And then she just reclined that leg into the ouch position, and it was over. It was over quickly.
You know, for anybody who's trained jiu-jitsu, when you saw her go ahead and take her time and readjust her positioning, you knew what was about to happen. Like somebody's leg was about to get snatched off.
I was alerted to the need for medical attention when you said
that series in slow motion, you see how far that leg bends, man. Like it literally goes in a direction it should not go.
Okay.
Well, we were talking about how she was in the middle in the beginning of a calf slicer. Oh God, Carolina had her in the beginnings of a calf slicer, and she just took it. She just actually sat there and relaxed herself to just accept the pain, and she went to work. And I was like, that's a very scary woman. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. That is that's Valanchenko's next opponent. That's her next true threat. The Queen of Violence is her next true threat.
So it sounds like you're on a hype train.
I think I am. I think I am. I'm on Lipsky's hype train because what I saw in that night impressed me. Not the fact that she was willing to, yank a leg off and take it home and mount it on her wall like a UFC belt, but it was just the fact that how she composed herself when she was put in a painful position, and she was just like, okay, I'm here.
She's like, I don't take belts, I take legs.
Exactly.
Ariana actually styles herself as a Muay Thai fighter as well. Like she feels like she is better known for her striking as opposed to her jiu-jitsu.
Well, that's because of her teacher. You know who her teacher is, don't you?
Who's that?
Chris Cyborg.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think Muay Thai though when I hear from Cyborg. I mean, she trains more boxing than I think she does Muay Thai.
Oh no, she's a Muay Thai specialist. She's from Shoot a Box too. I think she's from because she's from Shoot a Box as well. Let me verify that. Hold on, we got a few seconds.
We only have a few seconds.
Cyborg, crazy killer, Chris Cyborg. She is, she's Shoot a Box. She is Shoot a Box. So yeah, all your killers are coming out of Shoot a Box Academy, like the old Pride days. All right, they fight tigers, people, literally.
Well, we got some tigers in Oklahoma. There's a king there. That's how we'll end the show. Follow us on social media on Instagram. I am Combat Sports Talk.
And I am Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with a E-S, K-E-Y-E-S.
I'm Darkside _MMA_. Probably changing that soon, too.
Yeah, I always wondered about you having those additional underscores in the...
Somebody else has the name as well, and I don't think they're doing much with it, but they're not giving it up, so...
Yeah, you gotta find a way to differentiate it, but maybe we can do some brainstorming to help you get the, tune in next week when we reveal George G Money Stallworth's new Instagram handle.
Man, he's just gonna ride. Why don't you just ride up on him and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Because they're in Australia.
Oi. Oi, let's go have a shoey about it, and y'all work that out. Okay.
That would be kind of cool to take a trip to Australia, though. That'd be great. We're doing the show from Australia this week. Yeah, but it would be like it'd be wow. It would be something like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that when we'd be doing it, or some crazy. Anyway, you can follow us on our website at www.combatsportstalk.com, and you can find us on all of the major podcasting platforms. Look up here. That's where you can see all the places where you can find Combat Sports Talk. Follow us, like, and subscribe. That way every time we get a new episode that's out. Shout out to MMA Junkie. I didn't mean to call you guys out. You were just using you guys as an example. MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and the Intelligent Defense discussion group. We're holding it down, starting the conversations that we have here on the show on that group on Facebook, and all the other sites that provide the stories that we use on our show. So, on behalf of John Keys and George G Money Stallworth, I'm Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.